Who hasn't grown up with movies like The Lion King, or An American Tail, or countless others? I'm pretty sure almost everyone has at least one animated film in their childhoods. And animated films are among some of the best movies ever made. And recently, they have become probably my favorite genre of cinema. You know, there's just something about animated films that's a lot more hopeful and less cynical in their narratives, even though some of these movies can get pretty damn dark. But hey, darkness only makes the light at the end of the tunnel that much brighter.
As a child, I used to love animated films, but as an adult, I still do. Sure, some of them might not be the greatest, but what we love about them the most is their timeless characters, art, morals on how to be a better person, and timeless adventures. And that's why animated movies are one of my favorite genres.
As they are mine. And me and Daniel today will be counting our top 5 animated films. So, let's roll out the red carpet for what we consider our favorite animated films of all time. Number 5. Love is a song that never ends. This movie astounds me. It astounds me how a movie from 1942 can be drawn so well. I mean, from the way the animals move, the backgrounds, the little April shower scene. I mean, Christ, that's some of the best animation you'll ever see. And I have yet to find a movie that can rival this. But not only is the animation spectacular, but the music is amazing as well. Bambi is a movie that more speaks through the music and the animation than dialogue or plot devices. You know, I find moments like the Great Prince walking through the forest, or hell, even the ending, to be so much more powerful than anything from the 90s Renaissance movies like The Lion King or Aladdin. Beauty and the Beast? That one's debatable. I mean, you could argue that Bambi doesn't really have much of a plot, but does it need one? I mean, if you ask me, just showing Bambi grow up and experience life is more than enough to be compelling. And also, what kind of plot could you put in Bambi without bogging it down on all this stupid bullshit? Bambi is beautifully drawn, powerful, intense, and probably Disney's most honest film to date.
I like this movie, but it wasn't one I watched a lot, unfortunately. But the movie in my number 5 spot is definitely one I watched a lot of. Number 5. The Road to El Dorado. I put this movie at number 5 spot because I think it deserves its spot. The story of two swindlers finding the City of Gold was a good concept that brought up good laughs and a great adventure. And they could have just stopped there with the premise, but they took it a little further. The two main characters are ended up mistaken as gods after a couple of misleading events, which ensues is one of the most fun I've had in a movie in a long time. Does it have problems? Sure. At the beginning we suspect this one character to be the main bad guy, but he kind of gets brushed off for another, which I kind of felt like was a waste of animation. But that's just a nitpick. The rest of the movie is a ton of fun, and definitely something worth watching.
I haven't viewed this one recently, but I did like it when I was a kid, so I'll definitely have to check it out again one of these days.
Yo! Your horn bit me in the butt!
Number 4. Pinocchio. Pinocchio is, in my honest opinion, the best Disney movie ever made. I love the characters, I love the story, the songs are great, and a lot like Bambi, it has a lot of powerful emotional scenes. It's also a very dark movie, and as you know, I love dark movies. It just makes the movie a lot more powerful to me. I prefer darker, sadder movies to light and colorful comic movies. And Pinocchio is full of dark scenes of Pinocchio in peril and overcoming the obstacles. You know, I also love how there's several villains. There's the whale, there's the coachman who turns all those boys into donkeys, and there's, of course, Stromboli, who, I'm just gonna say here, reminds me of my dad with that satanic-ass temper of his. Maybe why he scared me so much when I was a kid.
Pinocchio also has my favorite song in any Disney movie, When You Wish Upon a Star. Pinocchio, I can honestly find no wrong in it, and have nothing to complain about. It's a perfect movie in my eyes. What more could you wish for?
I like this movie too, although again, I haven't seen it in a while, but I should watch it again. Number 4. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Considered a diamond in the rough, Mask of the Phantasm was an underappreciated Batman movie, which in my opinion was bullshit. It was big enough to play with the big dogs for its main story and the main focus of the villain, and his relationship to Batman. What ensues is that it'll look into Bruce Wayne's past and how he almost did not become Batman. This movie was entertaining, dark, tragic. It has Mark Hamill voice the Joker. What's not to love? It's definitely worth number 4 spot.
I have yet to check this one out, as I was never a Batman fan in my childhood, but recently I've gotten more into Batman, so I'll definitely have to check this one out one of these days. Number 3. The Land Before Time.
Did I ever say that I was a guy who loved music and film? Well, if I had to choose one movie, and only one, where the music was pretty much the movie, it would be The Land Before Time.
Not only is this film my entire childhood, including the sequels I might add, but we'll get to that soon enough. Oh, stop your bitching, Daniel. This film has the best score I have ever heard in a film, or at least an animated film. I mean, just the score itself is enough to give you the emotions in a scene.
Whether it's happy, scary, or just downright depressing, The Land Before Time has the most emotional score I've ever heard in an animated movie. Was that the only reason I enjoy it? Well, of course not. I love the characters, I love the story, and I'm just gonna say here, The Land Before Time has the best ending I've ever seen in an animated movie. Hell, maybe not even animated movies. Just movies, period. But then again, that also has a lot to do with the score.
The Land Before Time has an emotional score that has memorable characters. It was a staple of my childhood. Watching it is like literally going back in time.
Oh god, the sequels! So many sequels! Ah! Number 3. The Princess and the Frog. I like this film for 3 reasons. 1. Randy Newman's songs are really good. I mean, even though it was just until the end credits, my jaw hit the floor. It was like, wow, usually his music's, well... Oh, you know what I mean. Number 2. The setting. New Orleans was definitely a nice change of pace from the Disney formula. Number 3. The characters, especially the villain, the Shadow Man, played by Keith David. Awesome voice, by the way. Characters are a lot of fun, interesting, and well-rounded. The story at parts can get a little complicated, but it wraps up well at the end. But overall, it's definitely a fun flick to watch.
This is yet another one I haven't seen yet. So, fuck it. Next one. Number 2. The Secret of NIMH.
You know, at first, I was gonna put The Land Before Time in this spot. But after I saw NIMH, sorry Land, but you've been beat.
Although NIMH isn't as emotional for me as Land was, NIMH has a much stronger narrative. The story is excellently told, I love the character Mrs. Brisby, and it treats its audience like adults.
And actually, I remember catching this movie on TV when I was a kid. But it was also during that time when I was stabbing my childhood in the balls. So I didn't think much of it. But then again, I kept on watching, so something kept my interest. And now that I'm a mature adult, I'm glad I checked it out, because this one's a gem, and it's easily Don Bluth's best work.
And as far as I'm concerned, any movie animated as well as this is, in a garage, on a $7 million budget, is worthy of a high spot on any list.
I still can't believe it was all animated in his garage.
Indeed.
Number 2. Aladdin. I think this was the boys' movie of Disney. It had action, comedy, and a monkey! But that was not a lot I liked about this story. There really wasn't any moral to the story, which I liked. It was an adventure like none other. The characters are memorable. The art style memorable. Just one of those movies you cannot forget.
Finally, a movie I actually have seen. So what can I say about it? It's a good one. The songs are great, the story is great, the characters are great. Not the best Disney movie, but a really good one nonetheless.
I don't think so. Not right now. You're getting your wishes, so sit down!
And my number 1 favorite animated movie of all time is Watership Down and The Plague Dogs.
These two movies belong in the same spot for a number of reasons. They're both based on Richard Adams novels, they're both directed by the same guy, they both star John Hurt, and they are both incredibly different from what I grew up with. I mean, holy shit! I never for the life of me thought I'd find movies like this. They were dark, they had blood, they were pretty violent, and they had great stories to boot.
And Watership Down is so far the only movie I've ever watched that made me want to read the book it's based on. Though recently I've also wanted to read Felix Salten's Bambi, A Life in the Woods, which Bambi is based on, obviously.
And The Plague Dogs, well, let's just say it's one of those best movies you probably never wanted to see. I mean, Christ. I wouldn't be surprised if people slit their throats from watching this shit.
Watership Down and The Plague Dogs are mature, dark, and different from anything I grew up on, and are easily my number 1 animated movies of all time.
Ha! You call this dark? Wait until you see Grave of the Fireflies. Ugh.
You think you're the only one who hates this damn place?
Number 1. The Prince of Egypt. What can I say about this movie? In my opinion, has one of the best soundtracks I have ever listened to in a Western animated movie ever. Every song in this movie is big, from the beginning to the end. Every song in this movie fits like an elaborate jigsaw puzzle. I really can't say that much about the story of Moses because, well, it's the story of Moses and it's been done like 100 times. But what really stands out to me about this movie is the relationship between the brothers and how they were once brothers, but now they're enemies. Which I thought was really well done, and that's why The Prince of Egypt is my number 1 pick on my anime movies list.
The Prince of Egypt is definitely a great movie. The animation is spectacular, the music's great, hell, The Plagues is probably one of my favorite songs from any movie, and the story and the characters are great too. Prince of Egypt may not be the best, but it's definitely worthy of recognition.